Welcome back to Midday. We are down at the Kamloops Art Gallery this afternoon, and we're in the CUBE, joined by Michael Markowski, who was on Midday about 3 years ago, so it's great to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you, and you're working on a fantastic exhibition right now. It's called Faster Than the Speed of Sound, and this all began with a flight in a military aircraft, an F-18 in Cold Lake, Alberta, and it's just come all from that flight. So let's talk about that.
Well, as you said, it's been a 5-year process since I applied to the Canadian Forces Artist Program until I actually got into the plane. And once I was in the plane, we flew for an hour and a half, and I made 100 drawings, each about the size of a postcard. And then I transformed those drawings into these giant paintings that you see here. And there's actually 2 more that are rolled up in storage because I couldn't fit into space. And then the final step of this whole project is to build a giant sculpture that will occupy this entire gallery and that people can sit inside of and then be surrounded by the paintings.
How are you inspired to start this?
Well, you know, I guess probably when I was a kid, I used to go to air shows with my father, and when I was really young, these planes, the CF-18 Hornet, the one that I flew in, had just been introduced. So they were brand new airplanes, and Top Gun had just come out, and everybody wanted to be a fighter pilot, including myself. But I guess my life just went in a different direction, and I didn't join the military. I became an artist. But I've kind of used my art practice as a way of pursuing all of those goals and dreams I've always had, including being a fighter pilot. And so I guess when it came time to, when I was thinking of applying to the program, I thought, why don't I try and see if they'll let me fly in an airplane, and I'll make some drawings while I'm doing it.
You made 100 drawings in an hour and a half. I mean, myself, I would be focused on not losing my lunch up there.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But how do you even draw? Like, how do you draw when you're flying through the air?
Well, it's very difficult. Because especially when you're going through all these different turns and loops, and we're going upside down, just to try to stay focused, we're going through all these G-forces. So at times, my body's weighing 8 times its normal weight, and including my hand, which is all of a sudden like a bowling ball at the end of my wrist. And you're trying to draw on a piece of paper, and you can hardly lift your hand off the paper. So a lot of those drawings are very squiggly and haphazard, because that's just basically all my body could do.
What does this finishing product of the aircraft represent to you? What is that, and what do you want people to sort of feel when they get inside of it?
That's a great question. Well, the experience for me was totally overwhelming. It was by far the greatest experience I've ever had in my life. And when we were coming back to base, it occurred to me that I couldn't just make little tiny paintings. I couldn't just make little drawings. It had to be something huge. It had to be overwhelming. It had to be immersive, because those were all the feelings that I had. So I thought, okay, I've got to make big paintings. And then as I started making the big paintings, I thought, I think I need to create some sort of a flight simulator, basically, that people could climb inside of and experience those paintings, just be surrounded by them.
And so when somebody's inside the aircraft, people will come in and try that. Will all of these paintings be around on the outside as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is to basically live inside of a painting and be surrounded by them, and maybe even they'll be on the floor, maybe we'll hang some on the ceilings. The exhibition will evolve over the next 2 months. While I'm here, every day I'll be in the gallery building the sculpture, and so people are welcome to come and visit me and talk with me. And I invite people to come by, maybe once a week. It's free to come in and check out the show, and they can see how things are developing.
That's awesome. I think this is a very unique take on art. It's sort of, like you said, inviting yourself inside of a painting, inside of a world that you experienced in Alberta. What happens once this exhibition wraps up? Where are you going to take all of this stuff? Like, where does it go?
Well, the sculpture will be able to disassemble and fit inside of a crate. So basically it all is going to fit inside the cockpit. And then the plan is for it to travel across the country. Because when I was approaching the Air Force and saying this is what I wanted to do, one of the things I said was, we can't send every Canadian up into a fighter plane, but we can send an artist into the plane and have them just capture that experience and then share it with as many Canadians as possible.
That's really neat. I really like your perspective on that, and I'm sure it's going to be very interesting once it's all done. So thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I know that right now you're working on it, so we're going to let you get back to that.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. If you would like to come down to the Cube, though, you're invited to come down and check it out. It's sort of art in progress right now. Michael invites you to come down and talk to him about it. Down here at the Cube is where we are, inside at the Kamloops Art Gallery, and the information as well is on the screen. We're back in 2 minutes. Stay with us.